Welcome back to Between Drafts.
We're back. It's been a minute.
It has a full month.
Full month.
Today, we'll talk all about developmental editing. But first, Nat had a baby while we were gone.
I did.
So
Yeah, well, I did. My wife did. But I was there.
You were there.
I participated. Yeah.
You might have got more sick than Cosette did.
Yeah, it's been a harder month for me than her. It's true. Yes, that's the main reason we took time off was I've been hanging out at home with baby, which has been wonderful, and starting to slowly get back into the swing of things now.
He had a wonderful tweet on a Waymo and parenting hacks that you might have seen.
That was great. I think it was a new high score for me. It hit 6 million views. That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
The real test, the really funny one is because it got picked up by one of those meme accounts on Instagram. And so I think the Instagram guy who posted it also got millions of views. And so people were texting me, some, but Cosette especially, being like, is this your husband?
Yeah. Like, can we check on it?
Yeah.
We'll have to see how many Elon bucks you get.
I know. Yeah. I'm really curious. I was worried it was going to get community noted because like you obviously can't actually send your baby in a Waymo.
You might be able to.
I don't think you actually could because you have to sit in the car and press a button on the like.
For legal purposes.
Yeah, for legal purposes, you do not actually send your baby in a Waymo. So I thought I was going to get community noted saying like this is not actually possible. Blah blah blah. This person's engagement harming, but it didn't happen because if you get a community note, you don't get payouts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah, which I think is actually smart. That's a good policy because otherwise you could just make nonsense
crazy things.
Exactly.
That still happens.
It still happens totally. Yeah. But yeah, if you get a community note, you don't get X payouts. But didn't get one. So. We're going to see. I think whatever the X payout is, I'll just put it into her college fund.
There you go.
And then we'll put a little photo in the baby book. So yeah, you went mega viral before you were a month old.
Dad used me for a meme.
I funded your college fund. Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Same thing.
Altruistic.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I mean the big update is you got your edits.
Yeah.
You got those right before we.
Yeah, pretty much end of June. I've had them for about 4 weeks.
Right.
They're super helpful. So what I was thinking today is just talk people through how I found the developmental editor, what pricing things I saw, and then what the actual product itself was. So you're paying thousands of dollars for this. You might as well know what you're going to get.
Totally. And to just pull it back for one sec for anybody who might be showing up for the first time, Nathan has the first book in an adult fantasy series. Been working on it for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years now, and has gotten it to a very strong point. And this was like the big edit before thinking about production.
Correct.
On the book.
Yep.
And are you still thinking you're going to take this and then go the self-publishing route, or has it changed your thoughts on that at all?
No, it actually. I was talking to him all about this.
Yeah.
And he has. So for context, this editor has experience with Big Five, with some series that are huge, and some series that are more normal size as well. He's seen the whole gambit of what.
I think we've said it before. Do you not want to say which books he's
His name's Michael Braff. He's worked on a bunch, the biggest one being the Red Rising series. He was excellent. And I was talking to him trying about how to think about the essentially go to market. And it was pretty interesting to hear somebody who used to be in Big Five world. He was very open to the idea of self-publishing or even like hybrid publishing chapters on Substack and things like this. He was like, there's almost no downside to doing anything like that. And he was saying he would essentially plan to self-publish, send out queries and whatnot. And if in that time you land an agent that you're pumped about and they think you can land a huge deal, consider that. And if not, self-publish.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a pin on this to follow up after recording because I don't think I can announce it publicly, but I have something you might be interested in on the self-publishing side.
Yes.
That we should talk about.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's back up a step to I felt like after working with different beta readers, Nat being one of them, I felt like the book was in a good place where if I put it out, it's a good story. This is another debate, but if I could take it from good to great, I wanted to invest in doing that, and I think it would pay off long term for myself and the series, and just have a product out that I can point to and be like, I think you'll love this if you're the right audience for it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, all right, let's make the investment into a developmental editor, both the time that it takes and the money that it takes. So that's what the thought process was. Whether I go self-publishing or traditional, I think it's valuable. Even in traditional, you don't get that much editing. And I think that's important for people to know. Like,
Unless you get a crazy deal.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have an acquiring editor. It's a bit of a misnomer. From what I can tell, that person used to do more of the actual editing. And now just the nature of the business, unfortunately, they don't get to do as much pure editing unless it's, like Nat said, you're high 6-figure, 7-figure author, then they're going to do some editing.
An acquiring editor is almost more like a venture capitalist.
100%.
Yeah. Because they're picking which books they want to roll the dice on, which ones they think should be in their portfolio for the year, which ones the publisher should invest in. And they're spending almost more of their time making those decisions than doing line edits.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose to find a developmental editor. And actually finding an editor was more difficult than I thought. I did a couple different things to try to find them. First, there's a website called Readsy. This is probably the most straightforward place to find somebody. You can sort by genre. You can sort by, target age. So if you're young adult, new adult, children's, whatever, you can just hit all those filters and see who pops up. The challenging thing for me on Readsy was everybody has good reviews. And literally everybody's going to have 100 5-star reviews. And I'm like, okay, well, that means it's unhelpful to look at the reviews. So what books have they actually worked on, and have I read them? Were they good? So I thought that site was a good place to start, and it's probably the quickest way to find somebody, but it left me feeling like it was hard to determine how good they were going to be. And I knew this was going to be a $4,000 to $8,000 investment plus a month to 3 months of time. So I just wanted to nail the hire, essentially.
Yeah.
I just looked at it like hiring an employee for a business.
And there's a good analog there with hiring contractors for a business. Like if you want the best SEO people or ads people or designers, whatever, they're almost never on a marketplace.
Yeah, true.
In fact, they're very rarely on a marketplace. Sometimes they may not even have much of a website, and you've got to like find referrals and get introduced to them because they're really good people, have so much high quality business coming to them already that they're not out there looking for it.
And that is a great point, because I actually found Michael. He has a Readsy profile, but I could tell he hadn't used it in a while.
Yeah.
Like the last review was from like 2023 or something, and it said he wasn't open to work. So what I did was I started with Readsy, and then I also used ChatGPT and said, these are the parameters of my book. Go use your deep research function.
Oh, cool.
And give me a list of folks who you think would be good fits. Don't worry about if it says they're freelancing or not. Just give me the list.
Smart.
So then I went through the list that I had made from Readsy, and then the list that Chat had given me, and essentially narrowed it down to a select group of people. Reached out to a bunch of them, got like 3 or 4 folks who responded and seemed really good. I think I would have been happy working with any of them. I was frankly biased towards Michael because I think Red Rising is one of the best series of the last decade in science fiction and fantasy, and he's worked on all 6. So I was like, all right. And I thought it was a great sign. He had worked on them both when he was at Del Rey and then also afterwards, which meant that either Del Rey or Pierce or both were spending their own money to keep him working on the project.
Yeah.
That to me says more than any kind of review. So worked with him, excellent experience. It took longer, but there's good reasons for it. The product itself, I'm very happy with, and I think it will make the story way better. And I wasn't sure if it would, because I had never really done it.
Yeah.
Your experience with developmental edits was kind of and yeah, so I wasn't really totally sure what to think. So, what is the actual product? A lot of developmental editors will only send you like they call it a developmental edit letter, and it can be really valuable. It's like 8 to 15 pages, depending on what it is, all about your book and what you need to work on. Michael also did inline edits throughout all 115,000 words.
Wow.
And to me, that set him apart in terms of the product he was offering. It was on the higher side. So he was 7,000 when a lot of them were around 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted that like very hands-on approach, especially the first time going through something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was great. The combination of high-level feedback from the letter and then the actual inline, paragraph by paragraph, scene by scene, just thoughts and things where he's like, you probably don't need this. This is great. Let's do more of this. Stuff like that.
Cool. And was he giving you that in a Word document with track changes?
Exactly.
Cool.
Yep. So then it was track changes. Every once in a while, he would just write like a new paragraph, be like something like this.
Cool.
And he said in his email, he's like, I wrote those real quick, so probably don't use those, but just to give you an idea, just you started thinking.
Yeah.
So then I can write my own paragraph beneath it or accept his and make changes, whatever. So it's the track changes, and then as well as comments like, hey, this is not described great. Like, what does this mean? Maybe more precision in your word choice here would go a long way. Stuff like that.
Cool. So obviously probably can't do super detailed feedback, but what are some of the more interesting, like high level things he pointed out that might be generalizable and useful for other people?
So I have the developmental edit letter pulled up.
The letter was great. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to read.
Yeah, I thought it was helpful just to see how he thinks about it.
It was helpful for me.
Yeah.
There were a couple things he pointed out in there where I said, oh, I do that, or like, oh, that is a really good way to think about it. If you can share it, the way he talked about description, I thought was so interesting, and I hadn't heard that before.
I'll find it. Let me see. Okay, actually, let's start with how he structured this thing, and then I can go kind of bit by bit, and we can hit on. So it was first just a little intro, then an overall assessment. So thinking where the story is at now, does he think it succeeds in what it's trying to do? Yes or no? Essentially what he said was, I'll just read it. In my opinion, Pendulum generally succeeds as a first entry in an adult series, but will require a final and extensive detailed pass before it is ready for general consumption. The biggest and most difficult to establish elements, plot, voice, theme, are handled well, and I don't think there are any major structural or format changes that need to be considered. That was a big relief for me.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about plot, voice, theme, story structure, so I wasn't totally shocked by that because I thought those were the strongest points of it because the story feels fast and well paced. And I've done a lot of writing on like story structure and things like this, so I was like, oh, okay, like that's good.
I think sometimes that part is easier for people like you and me who are more analytical, more spreadsheety.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a little bit easier to get that part right, and then I have a much harder time with the softer pieces of the writing.
That's a great way to put it. He says so he broke it into overall story structure things and then the writing itself. I thought that was a helpful way to look at it. We've talked about that with editing, like, all right, high level and then more granular.
Yeah.
Same idea. The writing itself is capable and concise with flashes of true beauty and a fresh sentiment, but could still use some work in the areas of depth and precision. This is what you were talking about with description. So that's how he breaks it up. And then he goes into like specific manuscript strengths, smart plotting, fast pace. He really likes the climax of the story, which I was happy with because there's essentially 2 climax. Characters are good, solid writing fundamentals, areas of improvement. Then he gets into it's a fantasy novel, so world building. And I think this actually applies to a lot of fiction, not just fantasy, but it's how do you use colloquial terms in such a way that it shows the characters live in their own world and it brings that immersion to life.
Yeah.
And you can even like in historical fiction, okay, you're in the 1930s, 40s, World War II. Well, what did people talk like then? How did the different sides describe things? Like, did they? One interesting idea is, can you name the same thing, two different things depending on who says it? So if,
Oh, okay.
like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good example, but I would imagine
Mudblood and Muggle?
yeah, something like that. Or a historical, I imagine the Germans called D-Day something than the Allies did.
War of Northern Aggression. That's a civil war.
100%.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's two different names for the same thing.
Yeah.
So he was like, how do you do more things like that, especially when you have a world where, depending on who you are, you experience it very differently. So I thought that was really good. And then it was like, how do you lean into the parts that make your story unique? So for me, it's that Byzantine, Mediterranean inspired flair. He's like, let's just lean into that for everything in terms of naming, word choice, description, what the cities feel like.
You need scimitars instead of sabers.
Yeah. Things like that. Exactly. And he's talking about word choice. I thought this was really good. And it's funny because I often think that show don't tell is some of the worst writing advice. And his letter kind of pushed me to think differently about that. And I thought it was in a very positive light. So he has, for word choice, general feedback, I would urge you to try and increase the complexity and precision of your word choice, especially when it comes to describing people and places. These have a massive impact on your reader's experience of the story. I have a tendency toward vague descriptors: big, small, fast, slow. There's no quick fix, but critical eye on the complexity of your word choice will yield the most stark results for your next draft. So that's a good thing, because then I can make essentially just a list of what are these vague descriptors and Control F and find all of them and see, okay, how do I change this for that specific one? He gives examples of how this might change. We enter into a cavernous chamber. Makes you think of a very tall space that might feel overwhelming in some way. We enter into a spacious interior. It's more wide, more comfortable, might be contemporary in design. So just an example of how that cavernous chamber versus spacious interior, they could be the same thing, whereas I might say just big room, but those two things give very different feels. Yeah, he said, all we did here was find more precise versions of the existing words. And that's a great way to look at it. Precise versions of the words that are already there.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Visual description, he says, basically, though the pacing is good, he often felt like he didn't know how something looked and smelled and felt. So he uses something called setting the stage. He says to think of each scene as a literal scene from a stage play. Each time the curtain rises, you're responsible for quickly and clearly establishing the descriptive elements. So dimension, direction, duration, detail. Then he gives an example of that. Okay, that's helpful framework.
I'd say more on that: dimension, direction, duration, and detail. And those should be set when a scene opens.
A scene in a new place.
In a new place, okay.
So dimension, how big is the space we're in? How empty or full is it? If outside, how far can we see? Direction, where are we in relation to other locations we already know? How did we get from where we were previously to where we are now? Duration, how much time passed between the prior scene and this one? Any looming deadlines of which to be aware? He said deadlines are super powerful and use them when you can.
Yeah.
Detail, give us a couple sensory details and a couple mundane details that inform our sense of place. So sensory details, like the echoed slaps of my bare feet on the cool tile. Mundane details, a neat pile of orange cushions against the wall farthest from me. Things like that.
Cool.
And when I was talking to him about it, he was saying that people do tend to just kind of skim through these parts, but they're important to set in place quickly to allow them to imagine the more detailed conflict aspects to just exist in somewhere. So
Makes
it's
sense.
not just people floating in space, if you will. Let's see. World building, naming conventions. We talked about this. Then we do get into pacing and plotting notes. He talked a lot about slowing time. Another way you can use detail is to emphasize particular moments in the story and maximize the dramatic tension therein. The technique is called slowing the turn, and you are doing it. I'm doing it in some places throughout the manuscript, but could be doing it even more. When a major plot moment is happening, you actually want to slow the pace by getting extremely granular with the description of everything going on. He thinks of it like taking a Polaroid, forever capturing all the details of that critical moment into a snapshot. He says just the time spent in a scene is often a function of how important a reader, like the importance that a reader assigns to it.
Got it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we get into more specifics about the actual story and plot itself, especially looking at the beginning and ending. A lot of the edit focused on the end, but when we talked through, it was a lot of how do we reflect and mirror the ending better in the beginning. And that was an interesting discussion as well. Oh, also, I thought this was funny. It's not really in the letter, but when I was talking to him, he was like, how can we more essentially chatify the main character a little bit?
Yeah.
And he had some clever ideas to do that in a way that didn't change who the main character was or how I would write him, but just make him seem more important.
Yeah. More aspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I thought was really good as well. Just very simple things like height. How do other people look at him the first time they see him? I currently had it where there's a scene midway through the book that more directly shows like power potential, basically. He's like, can we just plop that forward?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so I thought it was super worthwhile and helpful. But yeah, that was a letter.
So, having that letter and all of these line edits, what have you been doing the last month? Like, how have you been prioritizing it, attacking it, triaging it, figuring out what to do from there?
So I talked to him about this as well, and essentially what we landed on was very similar to like the editing hierarchy that we've talked about. Okay, what are the highest level things that are going to go throughout the entire story? It's like the world building, basically. World building, magic system, build out of like those names and getting the lore exactly right in my head so that when I went through everything, that came across really well, and that part of the story felt like it had depth to it because of the different names and references and things like this. And he said that he likes to just add in descriptors. So, for example, if Nat's drinking a glass of red wine at a sporting event, say it's a
weird choice, but
maybe not a sporting
no,
whatever.
Teasing.
Yeah, you're right. That is a weird choice. Drinking a beer.
I mean, that's a character element right there.
Yeah.
If you're having red wine at a sport event, that actually tells you a lot about a character
or the culture.
Yeah, or the culture.
Yeah.
Good point.
But essentially, you can still be doing that. You just assign a name to it. Say it's red wine, Thredican, red wine, or something. Yeah, that works too. Anything like that. Just say where it's from, how old is it, things like that. Same exact act, just with a few more words that deepens the world itself.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a funny example. So yeah, being able to do things like that throughout the whole story. And then he suggested essentially doing the end first, like getting nailing the ending, and then going through the rest of it with like knowing what the exact end is.
Cool.
which I like to work that way anyway, so that worked really well.
Right.
So yeah, now I'm working on the first act. He said that he felt like if I could get people to the end of the first act, then I would have them hooked for the whole story. So he was like, tighten that, make the first act as good as you possibly can. Your ending is really good. If you can get people to like that inciting incident hooked at the end of the first act, then you'll carry them through.
Nice. I feel like that's probably a generally correct rule of thumb, right? It's like if you can get them to the big inciting incident, reveal of the antagonist, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I don't usually quit a book in like 2/3 into it.
Yeah, it's usually in the first 50 pages, 75 pages.
100 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess sometimes if it feels very lost and rambly
Yeah.
after the end of the first act, then maybe.
Yeah.
Like I probably would have quit Empire of Silence around the middle because of that. But yeah, I think it's usually rare.
Yeah.
If you get them through the first act, then they're pretty hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
How are you thinking about timeline with it now?
It's a good question. I've definitely not been as productive as I wanted to, just with everything with Elizabeth's health.
Yeah.
So that's kind of another factor that I didn't think about. But the last week has been a lot better for me in terms of being able to focus and not just go down deep research rabbit holes of other stuff.
Yeah.
And the cover design, it's another thing we can talk about at a different time, is coming along, but it's not where I want it yet. And then there's also the interior design of like the actual hardback, paperback, and ebook itself, which I think is really, I didn't really think it was that important until I saw the husk interior design. It looked great.
It's so good.
And that kind of, I was like, I just kind of thought you threw the words on the page. And
Just upload an EPUB and call it a day.
Yeah.
I mean, for Kindle, I guess that's true to some extent, but yeah, for the actual paperback prints.
I thought that made a big difference. Like opening husk, I was like, this looks legit.
It looks professionally published.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think if you're thinking about self-published, that actually is a big thing.
I think so.
So I've hired an interior book designer.
Oh, cool.
I did that one through Reedsy, but through a recommendation from a dude I met.
Nice.
And the guy seems really good, and he did a great job on this guy's book. It looked really good on the inside. So I'm excited to work with him. But at that point, like to work with someone like that, the words have to be finalized.
Yeah.
So I finish this edit, and then I have to decide if I want to do a proofread or a copy edit, which I'm not totally sold that I'm.
I mean, you'd hire someone to do it.
Yes,
mean you?
Correct.
You're wondering if you yourself should do one.
I'm wondering if it is a step that needs to be done.
You definitely need to hire someone to do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
I mean, because even with a good proofreader, copy editor, there's still going to be
stuff,
typos.
Yeah.
So even without one, there's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
actually think that maybe matters even more for the perceived quality of the book than the typesetting. And I'd argue like the cover is probably the most important thing to invest in. And then I think the second one is the copy editing and proofreading, because if I'm reading a book and there are typos, like the first couple you always give a pass because, you know, who doesn't see a typo in a book?
Yeah.
If you start to see 4, 5, 6, then you start to think like, oh, this isn't a serious book.
Yeah.
You know, it throws you out of the immersion.
Totally.
And I was talking about this with some of the scribe folks, and it's actually crazy how hard it is to do good copy editing and proofreading.
I believe it.
Because you think about a 115,000 word book called 100,000 words, even with a 99.99% success rate, that's still 10 typos?
Yeah.
Which is like enough for somebody to notice. You have to aim for like 99.999, and like, that's really hard. That's super hard to do.
Yeah. So those are the steps. Is I finish these edits, copy edit, and then did you do copy edit and proofread together, or were they separate?
Scribe does 3 rounds that include that are basically both.
Yeah.
So the copy edit happens first because that includes slightly higher level feedback, like, hey, this term hasn't really been defined, or this, this character was described this way here, but now it's this way. Like, which one is it?
Yeah.
You get some of that in the copy editing, and that's really helpful too. And then the proofreading is the like, okay, this comma is wrong, or we need to fix this parenthetical, or whatever. And I think it was 3 rounds of that, and we caught stuff every round. And there are still like 10 or 12 typos in the book that we didn't catch.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So those are the steps that I got to take: is finish this edit, copy edit, proofread, interior design. So I guess those are the 3.
Will you do another round of beta readers?
Probably not.
Really? Okay.
I don't think so.
Cool.
Yeah. I think there's some value at this point of putting it out there.
Trusting yourself.
Yeah, trusting it. Trusting what the editor said. And
that's kind of how I felt about the novella. I was like, getting a bit of beta readers in the middle was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a certain point, it's like, no, I think I know what I want to do here.
Because I think the feedback from the beta editors the first time was generally very positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the book has just gotten better.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well,
so if they already liked it and then you made it a lot better, probably just going to like it more.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So that's where my head's at with that. Might be a mistake. We'll see. But
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that you kind of have to, like, I've thought about this a lot, where beta readers are super helpful, and, definitely shouldn't not use beta readers. And at the end of the day, it's your book, right? It's like, you do have to trust yourself eventually.
Yeah.
So it's like, at some point you got to be like, no, I don't need 10 other people to read this and tell me it's good. Like, I know it's good.
Totally.
And it's good enough.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Will you work with him again for book 2, you think?
Yeah, I would. I think the feedback was worth the time and the money.
Cool.
And I thought
it seems well worth it.
I think the product he delivered was really good.
Yeah.
And will make the story a lot better. And that's what I was looking for.
I kind of want to work with him on Secret Project if I do that after I finish this draft of Husk 2. Right? Like, it'd be, because I feel like on Husk at this point, on that series, I kind of feel like, okay, I just want this to like be mine and do it. But if I did something else, I'd want to hire him or somebody like him. Yeah. Because it's just like, getting that feedback ends up being helpful for everything you write.
I had that thought.
Not just the book that you're writing.
I had that thought too, because I was like, I'm glad I did this now, because for the rest of the series, everything he said is super applicable, especially the world building stuff. Like, that stuff will carry through. And then just writing more things like this, I can look at that and be like, all right, well, that's how he thought about these very important big things that also apply to every other story I write.
Here are my checklist of things to think about while editing.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at these things. These are the things that I fall short on, and this is how a very good professional thought about working through and fixing those and making them good. So
it's good to know.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any little updates?
I don't think so. You said you didn't sell many books through the Waymo tweet?
No noticeable uptick in sales from the Waymo tweet. I appreciated you plugging the book on it, though.
We tried.
That was really helpful. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. No real noticeable uptick, but it's had a really good sales month. I mean,
that's great.
Better than June, I think. July has so far been better than June, which is great because I haven't done anything to promote it.
Yeah.
I've done literally nothing this month. I've just been like,
oh yeah, that's true.
I've just been kind of like triage, like, okay, I've only got.
You had a baby and then you got super sick.
Yeah. And really just like trying to be at home with baby and not like feel the need to keep my productivity as high. And so I was like, okay, I can make progress on Husk 2, or I can keep pushing Husk 1 this month. It's like, in between those, making progress on Husk 2 felt more important because it's like, I want to keep the publishing pace, and I didn't want to lose more than a few weeks of focus on it. And so like not doing any marketing and still selling, like including KDP, probably like 3 to 8 copies most days, which it's not bestseller, but it's pretty darn good. And so things are moving, which is nice.
That is great.
And I got those really good reviews, so that was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, wow, the reviewer read it.
I know. Yeah. And the reviewer like not only just read it, they enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I got Book Life back, which is the publisher's weekly indie division.
That's the one that you sent me.
That's the one I texted you, and they loved it.
Yeah,
and
that was really
it
positive.
was a really positive review, and it got editor's pick too, which I guess they give to like 1 to 3% of the books that they review.
Nice.
So it's solid.
Yeah.
And it'll actually be published in the next edition of Publishers Weekly,
That'd be cool to
which will be cool. So
see if that moves the needle.
yeah, see if any. My friend David Cadavy had one of his reviews that he published in the magazine, and he said it sold some like library and bookstore copies.
Hey, that's great.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
And you have to pay to include it, but when you do, you can also order a few copies of that edition of Publishers Weekly. So
cool.
I'm gonna get them in a few weeks, and that'll be neat to see.
Yeah.
And then I got the Kirkus review back, and that was really positive
It was too?
Yeah,
Good.
it
I
just
don't
came
think you
in.
sent me that one.
I don't think I
Nice.
did. It came in like 4 days ago.
That's right.
Also really positive, which is a bigger deal in my opinion because Kirkus can be brutal.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty harsh. And so if they say they liked it, they actually liked it. And it didn't get a star. Crypto Confidential got a star, but it did get, they have like a feature box on some of their reviews where if they like it, there'll be this like big check mark that says like our verdict, get it. And with a link to where you can buy it. And so they gave it the our verdict is get it
Nice.
feature, which was cool.
That's huge.
So yeah, got a couple of those now, which if I redo the cover, I'd actually like have some
a little
real
blurb
blurbs to put on it now,
plop
which
on
is
it.
cool. Yeah. And I think it helps on the Amazon page too, you know, if you show up and there's
Yeah.
like actual editorial reviews there.
Yeah, I don't even think it matters what the review says. It's just, I mean, it's kind of like the testimonials on any kind of product.
Yeah, having
It's
something
more
there makes
just
it look
like-
more alive.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Huge. Let's yeah, we need to do an episode on like, okay, 2-3 months after launch, what does this look like?
Yeah. What does it look like? What's going on? Yeah, that would be a good one to do. And then novella cover's done. Love the cover. Cover's so good.
The fish are cool.
It's fantastic.
Like if you had told me that the cover is going to have fish on it, I would have been like,
That doesn't make sense.
yeah, but then I saw it and I was like, that's really good.
Amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good. So really happy about that. And then I just owe them feedback on the copy edits, and then can go into production on that. So
Nice.
moving along.
That's awesome.
Yeah, probably still on track for like November release, maybe October for aggressive. But
Huge.
cool. All right. Well, we're back at it. So we'll be back next week.
Yeah. If you liked it, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, share with friends, grab a copy of Husk.
Yes.
Sign up for, is it now nathanbaugh.substack.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nathan Substack. The paid membership seems to be going really well.
Yeah, it's grown good. Got like 500 people on there, and
That's awesome.
they're really enjoying it. And I haven't pushed it at all for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And it's pretty much just
Coming in organically.
I'd say held steady.
Hold steady.
Yeah.
Hey, holding steady's a win.
Yeah.
It's MRR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. We'll see you all next time.